Hey everybody, thanks for joining us on this episode of the Sitdown. I am your host, Nothing But Car Reviews, aka Dark Talking Music, aka Tony. And then introduce yourself, co-host.
Ryan, aka Rock615, on Twitch and Kick.
Alrighty, so we're just gonna talk about some news we've been wanting to go over. I just want to get right into it. So, you were telling me earlier about Young Thug. So what's going on with him?
Here we go again with this Rico case. Him and Young Thug started, Young Thug and Gunna.
Yeah.
I guess they started this whole case and everything. Gunna's out now.
Right.
You know, we don't know how that happened. You know, he took the plea deal and everything else.
Yeah.
But he snitched on like 10 different people.
I thought it was just one. Dang.
Hey, dude, he's out. And then, yeah, I think Thug, he's staying solid. So, me personally, though, I feel like criminals, they belong in jail. So.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of people are thinking that, he was out here trying to better a lot of people. And I think a lot of people just got mad because the song lyrics were used. But I'm kind of like with you. Like, if you're snitching on yourself, like you said, criminals belong in jail, especially dumb criminals. But, I mean, I still feel like it's a double standard. Like, a lot of people admit to, like, white-collar crimes or whatever, and then they get a slap on the wrist, and then he basically was just out there being how he was brought up, and he's getting punished for that. And I feel like it's kind of it's a double standard. I think a lot of people in business, and maybe they learned that from their fathers or grandfathers or whatever, but you steal money from people, you embezzle people, so on and so forth, and then you get a slap on the wrist because you didn't put a hit out on somebody or whatever. You still ruin somebody's life. You're taking their money. You know what I mean?
Very true. But me personally, I don't think it'd be the same though as, if Drake was locked up. You know what I mean? I feel like everyone would have more push to try and like get him out or whatnot. I don't think anyone really cares. I mean, he dropped the album when he was in jail, and to be completely honest, it was trash. You know what I mean? And so
I agree with that. I thought it was trash. No offense to Young Thug, but
at the same time, I mean, it's not like he's gonna come out and do better. You know what I mean? Or make better music. He's gonna come out and just get back to the same stuff he was already on.
Yeah, but you gotta think, AI Drake. You get Drake locked up these days, people probably won't even notice he's gone because AI Drake will be making hits.
AI Drake needs to get locked up as well. Ain't nothing like the original Drake.
That's copyright infringement right there. Well, while we're on that topic, YNW Melly, he's been locked up for a minute. Have you heard anything about his case? Now, we definitely we're pretty sure that he
yeah, he killed his best friend in cold blood. Yeah. So
I don't think he should get out. That was just.
You've seen a bunch of videos of people celebrating him, and he's in court, and it's just a bunch of videos and little 20-second clips of him, like people reading his mouth saying like "I'm on the way home," and you know what I mean, just saying a bunch of other random stuff. So I think he needs to stay locked up, give him life, and shoot the chair.
The chair. I don't know about the chair, but I mean,
he killed his best friend, dude.
Yeah, I don't believe in capital punishment like that. But I mean, heck, that's why I wouldn't kill anybody. I don't want to roll the dice like that because all it takes is for your state to make certain ways of execution legal again.
Yeah.
Gosh.
But,
I don't believe in taking life. Period. But yeah. Who was the third one that we were going to talk about? It was
Tory Lanez.
Yep. Yeah. So that was the recent case that finally got a sentencing down. I think he got 10 years. Wow.
Yep.
I mean, that was. What's funny is I was one of those people who was skeptical because I'm like, everybody, it's kind of like watching Fox News or MSNBC. You're gonna hear from people what they want to tell you. You know what I mean? And a lot of the times you want to go with an answer like Tory Lanez wouldn't shoot Meg the Stallion. First of all, I just hate to hear about black people getting caught up in anything like that. I think we have enough on our plate as a people anyway. So even if you make it big, it's still kind of a slap in the face to do something where you're getting locked up for even the Young Thug situation. Like, you're making it big, whatever, and apparently you're still out here doing this other stuff. So I was disappointed that Tory Lanez actually, first of all, that he was in that love triangle or whatever, but also just that he pulled the trigger and apparently shattered her whatever it was, where he had the bullet fragments
Yeah.
that they found in Meg's foot. And I want to basically apologize to Meg Thee Stallion. Not that she'll ever see this, but I want to apologize to her for not believing her from the jump. And that was a lot of there were a lot of people that were kind of on the fence about that. It wasn't really any of my business because I think celebrity stuff like that, I just stay out of it because they do crazy stuff like that. But that kind of proves the point there that we should have believed her, because the fact that he did something that's stupid, I mean, he deserves the 10 years that he got.
Yeah.
And something that was that cold and reckless, I think.
Yeah. Hey. You basically said it all, man. I don't listen to either one of them, but I do apologize to Meg Thee Stallion as well, because I didn't know what was going on. All I saw was a bunch of tweets. Just woke up one morning, all you see is, hey, Meg Thee Stallion got shot in the, and this and that, Tory Lane. So I did not see 10 years coming though.
Nah,
I just put that right there. You know what I mean? I've heard of worse things. What is it? Someone, I thought they just had some case in California. A dude murdered someone. They gave him like 3 to 10 years or something like that. I'm sitting here like, dude gets 10 years for shooting someone in the foot.
I mean, it was a high profile case. I think there's a lot of stuff. Like, that's what's wrong with our judicial system, is so much is based on just how much attention something gets. So like police shootings and stuff like that. A lot of the times we get off with a slap on the wrist, but like the George Floyd situation, that was on video. They made an example out of them. And that's kind of, if there wasn't body cam footage, they'd all be off scot-free.
Yep.
If there wasn't body cam footage, nobody would know who George Floyd was. Nobody would care.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people who are against the body camera, I'm for it because it protects police officers who are doing what they're supposed to do, and it helps prosecute police officers who are doing what they're not supposed to do.
Yep.
And I mean, that's all you want. I mean, you go to work, and if you're working at a grocery store, they have cameras on you at all times. It's not necessarily for you. It's for customers that are stealing. But if you're doing something wrong, then you know what? They can use that for that too. So it covers everybody. So I mean, that's kind of where I stand on that whole situation. But.
Yeah, well, cops, there's a whole different story on my side of things. They're just so entitled in the first place that a lot of them feel like they don't need a babysitter on them. You know what I mean? Like, they already rule the town. They rule everything. They rule the whole country. Like, you go off of the beat of their drum. So that's why a lot of them don't even use their cameras. You know what I mean? Because they feel like how they act out there. That's
That's how it is.
Yeah, that's how it is. That's how it's supposed to go. And so you always have. It's always a different side to every coin. So.
Well, that's funny because I watched this interview. I only watched half of it. It was like Tucker Carlson was interviewing Ice Cube, and he asked Ice Cube, "What you think about police relations in America?" And I think Ice Cube, you can agree or disagree with him. I'd love to have him on the podcast. Actually, I'm still a big fan of Ice Cube. But basically, what he said is police are trying to do two things, and that's win. So that's with every encounter they have. They're basically, since he was making music with NWA, they've been on the same stuff. They just want to win and make it home. That's their number one priority. It's not about your rights. It's not about making sure their body cameras are on. It's not about making sure that you're protected. They're all about winning and making sure they make it home at night. And honestly, when you think about it, isn't that what we all do when we go to work? We want to make sure that we're getting paid, we're able to pay our bills, and that we make it home so we can enjoy the time that we have to ourselves when we're not working. And I think a police officer, and really any position of authority, you have a higher calling. I think you should, when you have that much power and that much responsibility. And I feel like there's so many, and I don't even want to say there's a few bad apples. There are a lot of bad apples out there. There's so many people who are in positions of power, whether that's government, whether that's police force, whatever, and they just use it to better themselves, and it ends up hurting others, and they don't really care about that. So, I mean, it's a tough job being a police officer, especially when your morals are in the right place. But if everybody had their morals straight, we wouldn't be having all the issues that we have. So. Yeah. What else do we have? So, let's talk about this Kai Cenat.
All right.
You know more about that than me, so go ahead and kind of fill us in.
Well, he had just won some award, what was it, a year ago at the little Twitch account they had for the #1 streamer. And he's been blowing up.
Yeah.
I watch him a little bit, and for one, he's pretty funny, and I know he's about his fans, and he's clearly a number one streamer, in the U.S., in New York for sure, and I believe it was last week he was having some sort of giveaway,
Yeah.
and I don't know where it was in New York, but I guess he had a crazy turnout, and it was just a bunch of videos. Of course, I wasn't there, but it was just a bunch of videos I've seen of like just destruction and just people going around and just interviewing other people of the mess that these people left in the streets of New York. It was just crazy for me to sit there and watch all over what was it, a PS5 apparently.
I guess.
A PS5 giveaway.
So how did Kai get arrested? That's what I heard.
He was the one basically blamed for causing all these riots. So they're basically saying, even though there's tons of videos of him going around like helping people out that have been attacked or going through whatever, you know what I mean, and that just showed a real good side of him. I feel like in the situation, and to me, wasn't his fault at all. I feel like just a bunch of people that showed up. I mean, it was just a huge crowd, and people just starting to act like New Yorkers. You know what I mean? Just because they had an audience. That's what they do.
Well, I thought it reminded me a lot of the January 6th riots. Now, I don't think that, like Donald Trump, I don't think that Kai necessarily was hyping these people up to do what they
not
did.
at all. I don't think so. No.
That's your audience, and I think with the January 6th thing, I don't even want to 100% blame it on Trump because everybody knows your audience. Kai Cenat's audience are people that are sitting at home watching him stream, do crazy stuff. You're gonna get some crazy. You're gonna get probably a good number of crazies that are out there that are just what else are they gonna do? Why not cause a riot? And I think that's kind of what the January 6th thing a lot of people don't realize is Donald Trump didn't have to do anything. Like, he just had to say, hey, they stole the election. And I don't even know, you can agree to disagree, but I don't even know if he was the one that really thought that was going to go through. So I thought that was pretty interesting in itself. Have a little mic trouble here.
Yeah.
I don't know where that sound is coming from. There's just so much going on. It's probably these phones, honestly. But, yeah, I just thought that was quite interesting that all of that went down. Mm-hmm. That they literally thought that they could just mess up New York. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was just wild. Absolutely wild. But, I mean, that just goes to show how big I think streaming is getting. Mm-hmm. Just people can watch something on TV and then be like, hey, you know what? Or watch something on the internet and then, hey, this guy's a superstar. I really like this guy. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go meet this guy in New York and then basically start a riot. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was...
Well, he's had such a chain reaction effect to his success. Like, he just has, one thing happen and a bunch of people just gets on a bunch of subtrains and a bunch, he blows up off one video or a post with someone else, and then next thing you know, it's just a whole nother train of people flowing in. And then he promotes something. He did, fireworks at his house. He's had Ice Spice on, he's had SZA on, he's had Blueface on. I
remember that.
You know what I mean? It's just the dude's cool. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, you hate to hear of things like that happening to people that their heart's in the right place. So.
Yeah.
But, hopefully he recovers from this, gets back on his grind. Hopefully it didn't affect him at all, but of course he was arrested. But, I mean, that's a good thing about being a streamer.
Yeah, big money.
It's not like you're going to get fired from your job tomorrow. You might lose endorsements or something like that, but I wouldn't count on it.
Nah.
So, what else is on here? So, I guess we're going to talk about California. But it's kind of a bigger picture. We kind of touched on it the other day. We did our episode then, but I'm hearing a lot of people, and I'm seeing a lot of California tags, obviously, but a lot of people are moving to Tennessee, specifically from places of California that basically people are being priced out of. I mean, the prices of housing is crazy, and then of course the prices of I know gas in California is like $6-7. I think somebody told me. It's wild to see that, and then we have people here that can't even adjust to. We were barely making it here as it was off of just living in Tennessee, and now all these other people are basically causing inflation and also driving the prices of cheaper places up, especially as remote work is still pretty prevalent in America.
Mm-hmm.
So, first of all, just what are your thoughts about just the whole California situation? Do you think it's gonna last? Is it only a place for elites now?
Oh man, California. I feel like a lot of people are either gonna migrate. I feel like Central California itself, or kind of like Central, almost Southern, like LA and all that stuff. I feel like that place, unless you're rich or a streamer or something like that coming in, I feel like it's done for. Uh, I feel like it's just gonna get worse and worse. Uh, More and more homeless every year. You know what I mean? And
Well, what do you think about the homeless? Do you think the homeless is necessarily correlating with the economy, or do you think that's correlating with just how, I guess, the ease of government there, just kind of how they allow homeless people to be there and don't really tell them what to do or keep them at bay like maybe they do in some of the southeastern states and more conservative states.
I think they underestimate the power of the homeless. I put it that way. I feel like the homeless, I feel like that's the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
I feel like one of these days, if the things keep going the way they are, it's, you know what I mean? San Francisco is not going to be a safe place to live. It already isn't. You know what I mean? I've heard of at least Whole Foods. I know they closed down there because they keep on having stuff stolen. You know what I mean?
Wow, I know.
Everywhere it does down there. I mean, it's full of. No one has any money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No one can afford to live down there. No one can afford to move. Yeah.
So you think it's more of the economy than as opposed to the policies?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm not, for certain about the whole zombie apocalypse thing, but just like, I feel like the homeless, the situation is just gonna get worse and worse.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Do you think that correlates to why people are moving here as well? Do you think that's like the biggest factor, or do you think it's just the cost of living there?
I think it's almost kind of like the Chicago effect. How we moved out like a few years, before it really started going under, and people had already gotten the hint, and now people that were still there are still there because now they don't have a choice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
that's deep, actually.
yeah. And that's why, I mean, it was a few years back. Someone on the softball team at MTSU, her and her family just moved from. Actually, no, they'd ended up moving like 3 or 4 years after she had started. So she was a junior at MT, and they ended up moving down to Tennessee. But before, they were just like, she was just going down to college here. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I guess they got the hint. You know what I mean? And she probably was giving word back to them about how stuff was down here. Eventually, they pick all their stuff up and move down here. So it's kind of like not the same exact thing, but they kind of went with that new better, do better, state of mind, and yeah, I feel like that's gonna keep on happening. People are gonna keep on moving to Tennessee or in the South in general, from out west.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because this brings me to another. I think the aftermath of this is what I'm worried about. So I know a lot of people who come from, let's say, Memphis and move out here. And then you hear about a lot of stuff. Now, obviously, I don't think it's a race thing. I think it's more of a culture thing, like Denzel Washington said. But I feel like a lot of these places, depending on where you come from, it's making these spots a little more like around a college town or something like that, where people might be able to get in free because of government subsidies or whatever. Someone who might not have been able to get here is now able to live in this certain situation. Maybe they bring their problems or issues with them. Or maybe they bring their cousins and whatever with them to this place. Do you think that might be an issue that could maybe blow up in our face just in terms of this being a safe spot, but we're getting so many people from everywhere else that they don't like where they're living now?
Hey, dude, it's a different domino effect for everyone. As you see, people moving from California and places like where we live in Tennessee turn into like Nashville.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you see a lot of people trying to you know wedge in with it, try and and then you see a lot of other people move back to their small town. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's that's just the luxury of of who you are, what type of person you are. You know what I mean? Always having a backup plan. Uh, I wish I had that, which I guess we kind of do. Mount Pleasant would not if things were to completely backfire. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, all these other people moving from California, once all this stuff, what do they do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we're already here, so we might as well make sure we're as good as we possibly can because it's coming, and they're not going to stop coming. California has plenty of people to spare. That's for sure.
Yeah. You make a good point there, man. Yeah, that's, I don't know. I guess the issue that I'm seeing is our prices. Now, they're not close to what they're charging for in California, but places like Franklin, places like Murfreesboro, I think they are getting close to those prices where you could get something, let's say a 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom. I remember I bought my first house. It was 3 bed, 2 baths. I think it was like 1,400 square feet. It was 200 grand.
Mm-hmm.
That same house now will probably bring 340, 350. And you have to think, well, what would the same house bring in LA?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, certain neighborhoods are going to be cheaper than maybe more prominent neighborhoods, but I just don't see that necessarily. I feel like there's an equilibrium where, kind of like with immigration here, if everybody from Mexico, if this were an issue, if everybody from Mexico was moving to the United States, taking all the jobs,
Mm-hmm.
eventually there would be no more jobs for them to take.
Mm-hmm.
So then wouldn't they go back to Mexico? So it's
Hey.
kind of like, that's kind of where I am on that. So we'll have to see. I mean, you might be right, and then, I mean, they're already 2 lane, what was it, 4 lane highways that have been here as long as we've been here are now becoming 3 lanes,
Mm-hmm.
or 6 lanes, 3 lanes on each side.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very, very interesting just to see the growth in this area, Middle Tennessee in particular, but everything around Nashville. It's just they're seeing such a boom that they don't know what to do. All these
Mm-hmm.
smaller towns that are just used to being around Nashville, which was really a small city, now everything is just ridiculous,
Mm-hmm.
especially with COVID and everything like that. So it's just it's a
Yeah.
weird time around here. It
Yeah.
really is.
We're growing.
Yep, yep. But I think that'll bring it to an end for today. Definitely want to thank you for joining me as always.
Of course.
And if you all like what you saw today, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. If we're having any audio issues or you don't like what we're talking about, whatever, please let us know. We're just starting out. So it's fun. We enjoy doing this. So thank y'all for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.
Thank you.